Welcome back to Next Level Refs, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to be joined by our special guest today, Mr. Drew Fischer. Welcome, Drew, from almost the other side of the world. It's awesome to have you here today.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Now, I'm going to give you an intro, and we have known each other for a little while, and there's always been a bit of banter. So this next part of me being sincere is a little tricky, but I'm going to try my best to get through it. All right.
Sounds
So,
good.
Drew's intro. Drew is the current MLS referee of the year. In fact, he's now the two times MLS referee of the year, becoming the first referee to earn consecutive honours since Alan Kelly back in 2015, 2016. Drew debuted in August 2012, and has since refereed more than 220 MLS career games, including more than 20 regular season games in the most recent season. He's also a FIFA referee who has a hugely impressive list of tournaments to date. And I mean, genuinely impressive. His recent international achievements include acting as a referee and taking charge of 2 matches at the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. He's also been a referee, fourth official, and video match official at, let me take a breath for this, the 2024 Olympic Games, the FIFA Women's World Cup in 2019 and 2023, the FIFA Club World Cup in 2020, 2021, and 2025, and of course, the most recent 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Now, there's a bunch of tournaments that aren't included in the kind of local region, as well as some FIFA youth tournaments as well. So, mate, that is a very impressive resume to date, and another pretty big tournament coming up during the year with any luck.
That's certainly the hope. We're on the home stretch here to hopefully get there. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Awesome. Now, I know that you are in camp at the moment, preparing for the next MLS season. So, where are you at the moment?
Yeah, that's right. I'm in Dallas, Texas. This is our home base once a month for our training camps throughout the year, twice a month before the season starts, as we're gearing up to start our 2026 campaign in about 3 weeks.
Awesome, awesome. Going for the hat trick, the trifecta.
Yeah, exactly. Although I'm going to have some tough competition this year, I think.
Yeah, nice, 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 nice. Well, mates, I've got a list of 10 questions that we're going to try and get through. I've called it
Great.
10 in 10 minutes, but I won't have the stopwatch on. There's a chance we might go a smidge over. Question number 1. Some of these are from us and some are from our members who have written in wanting to know a little bit more about you. We'll start at the very beginning. So your journey from grassroots to elite officiating is pretty inspiring. Can you take us back to right when it all began? How did you get into refereeing?
I started refereeing, I was 13 years old. And like I think a lot of people at that age, it was really straightforward. This was a better way to make a buck than working flipping burgers or something like that. So for me, it was a purely money play when I started out. It was something to pay for some bad habits.
I love that, mate. And that is so common around the world with people that we talk to. It's a really common, certainly down under. A lot of refs get into it for the exact same reason.
Yeah.
Now, if we fast forward a little bit, at what point did you realize that refereeing could become more than just a hobby, more than just a bit of pocket money, and potentially become a professional pathway?
I think I realized pretty quickly that I had a bit of an aptitude for it and that it was something that I wanted to take seriously. That's not the same as thinking that, I had a career lined up in this.
Mm,
When I started, in fact, even when I started working in the professional divisions, there was no such thing as a professional referee in
mm.
Canada. I was part of the very first class of professional referees, the first 3 of us that ever got the opportunity to do this on that scale. So that was never really part of my plan. It was just something that I felt that I wanted to take seriously. I thought that I could maybe, advance far enough to make this interesting,
Yeah,
and just kind of stuck with it.
awesome. In terms of developing through the ranks, what were some of the biggest stepping stones that you had or breakthrough moments early in your career?
Like everyone, I think every step feels like the biggest step you've ever taken, right?
Hmm.
For me, the first step when I was 17 and first getting a taste of men's amateur football, that was a big deal when I was
Hmm.
finally allowed to referee that. When I finally stepped up to provincial level play, that had me traveling, the 3 hour drive down the road to do some of those games.
Yeah.
Those now they feel a little bit different, but in the moment those were enormous steps.
Mm.
And then of course, the as soon as you open the door to the professional ranks, whatever that is, the lowest professional tier you can find, that's an enormous step that kind of changes everything, because then it feels real,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. A little bit more pressure as you grow through the ranks as well.
for sure.
Uh, we talk a little bit with next level reps about the importance of mentors or having people that you look up to, sharing experiences and so on. So were there particular people or mentors or experiences that had a big impact on your development? And you can come back to my role in your development later. That's fine.
Yeah, I'll be sure to circle back around to that one. That one's critical.
Yeah.
No, when I came up, I was fortunate. Um, I grew up in Calgary, which is a medium-sized city in Western Canada, and we had at the time probably the best referee in Canada living there, and he became kind of the mentor, somebody to follow, and you learned a lot from that. But honestly, the people that I kind of learned the most from coming up were the guys who never refereed in professional games, never did
Hmm.
anything. These were the guys, and every one of your viewers will know them. They're the guys that can get through any game on your local park. You know,
Sure.
the worst mess of a game with the worst group of players, these guys find a way to get through it.
Yeah.
And the way they do it may not be exactly how we draw it up to advanced referees, but man, they teach you how to survive. And so those were the guys that taught me some of the tricks that come in handy later. Some of them may be a little dirty tricks, but the
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
that you need to survive.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, it's really refreshing to hear that. That certainly was a part of my development. The idea that you had to go out and learn like a kind of park football level how to manage like difficult
Exactly.
situations before
Yeah.
getting the opportunity on the big stage. So that's awesome to hear, mate. When you're transitioning from those local league matches to national and international competitions, what were some of the common challenges that you found?
So the biggest thing for me was at every step learning that when you first move in there, the players are smarter than you, right?
Hmm.
They've been there, they know what they're doing. You don't know what they're doing yet. And
Mm.
for me, the transition to the pros, that was the biggest obstacle, is coming up against a field full of players who
Mm.
were smarter than me at what I was trying to do, right? And having to catch up to them in a hurry to be able
Yeah.
to operate on their level was, I mean, that's a real challenge. And there's nowhere you can practice some of that stuff except getting into it and kind of hoping you make it through. So
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm totally on board with that as well. Uh, a lot of referees that we're working with at next level refs are in that grassroots community space, and certainly that sub elite space that are looking to take their game to the next level. And I'm not apologising for that pun. So, for grassroots referees that are wanting to progress, what habits would you suggest or recommend they start building like right now?
the biggest thing for me is um, I think people need to ask themselves more questions. And the
Hmm.
biggest question that I think they need to be asking is, after something happens on the field, when they're thinking about it afterwards, it's, what did you see?
Mm.
Because our brains are incredibly good at filling in gaps and coming to conclusions. And there's a million things that happen on the field that we
Hmm.
don't really see, but we see
Totally.
enough to make decisions. And the problem is, once in a while, you didn't actually see enough to make the decision.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so I think it's actually really important that people come back and say, what did I actually see there? Did I see him trip him, or did I just see something that made me think he tripped him?
yeah,
And
yeah.
and if you can try to slow it down and figure out what you saw and why you saw it, that's going to be the biggest step towards then being able to adapt and being able to adjust and figure out what clues are valuable and what clues aren't, and
Mm.
and figuring out even simple things like positioning. How do I get to where I could have seen that if I didn't actually see it?
Yeah,
That's the biggest
sure.
one for me,
Yeah, no, I love that. And that applies to every level. So that
for sure.
self-reflection, I mean, a fantastic habit to get in early because it just applies the whole way through the journey, right?
Well, and I think it's important because you're going to have coaches, assessors, evaluators, whatever you want to call them,
Mm.
who you don't have 32 high definition cameras to go back and
Hmm.
see what actually happened. So they're giving you their perception of what's happened. And
Sure.
it's important to be able to take what they're saying it looked like from the outside and
Hmm.
what you're saying it looked like from the inside, and try to merge those two stories and see if you can
Absolutely.
come up with maybe what really happened, right?
Sure, sure. Awesome. Now, this question has come from someone that's got in touch on our socials. And it's a question that I find when talking to younger referees or developing referees is a pretty common one. It's come in as, how do you handle setbacks, whether that's a difficult game, criticism, or even just a personal mistake that you felt, and how do you bounce back stronger?
So in a way, I'm a little bit lucky on this one. It's something that I've never really struggled a lot with. It's been
Mm-hmm.
fairly easy for me to kind of unpack things and put them aside.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing is you have to have people in your life that you can talk this stuff through with and then
Mm-hmm.
throw it away, right? And so you're always going to have colleagues within soccer that you're going to be able to talk to about the actual incident. And then
Mm-hmm.
honestly, you need people that are not going to talk to you at all about that.
Sure.
So, I have an incredibly great friend who was a referee in the league for many years here, and he and I kind of had an understanding that you'd know when the other one had done something on the field that they're not going to be real happy with.
Mm-hmm.
And if I finished a game with a decision that everybody knew I wasn't going to like, you'd have texts from people asking questions about the decisions or asking whatever, and he would text me about something totally unrelated,
Yeah,
usually
right.
baseball in our framework, right?
Yeah,
He would
yeah.
text me something about baseball just to talk about anything else in the world. And
Mm,
that was useful for me because especially that night or the next day, that's not the time I'm going to be able to process that and make anything out of it. So
mm.
I had to work with something else first, and then I could come back to it in my time when I was ready for it, you know?
Yeah, sure. I think that's so valuable, especially when referees can be like your own worst enemy, and all this pressure gets put on that you need that break, right? You need to be able to step
Yeah,
aside and get a bit of perspective that while it's important, but it's not really life and death, is it?
exactly. Yeah.
Mm. Awesome. We're up to question 8. We're flying through them, mate.
All right.
The biggest piece of advice you wish someone had given you when you were starting out?
So the funny thing is, they did give it to me, and I didn't listen to them. So I wish they'd given it to me more. No,
Yeah.
the you'll hear a million times you have to be yourself,
Hmm.
right? And that you can't try to copy somebody else because it's not going to work. And all of that is true,
Mm.
but you kind of have to you have to keep saying it, right? You've got to keep saying it to yourself because
Hmm.
for me that was not always the easiest thing to learn. Um, but there also comes a point where you have to steal tricks from people, right? You have to
Mm.
steal elements of their game. You have to steal techniques, and then you have to make them into your personality a little bit.
Sure.
Um, and so I'd love to say that nobody told me that, but I think the bad news is that they probably did, and I'm
Yeah.
just too stubborn to have listened to them, right? But but there's real truth to that. Like you're not
Mm.
gonna what if you try to copy somebody else in the field, you're gonna be an absolute phony, and it's
Mm.
gonna come through immediately, right? The smart players
Yeah.
are gonna see right through it. You'll have no credibility.
Hmm.
I mean, you've been there in the same thing, right? Where
Mm.
you try to do something somebody else did,
Hmm.
and then sit there wondering why it didn't work the way it did for them.
Absolutely.
And there's lots of stuff that we just can't do. That's not us.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
me, my personality is calm,
Hmm.
and so for me to be the big, ridiculously over the top, in my estimation,
Mm.
the over the top thing,
Yeah.
it just doesn't work. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't,
Sure.
nobody believes it. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got to find my own way.
Yeah. No, I totally agree that premise of just being genuine, because
Mhm.
if you're not feeling it, then you can guarantee the players are seeing straight through that as well. And
That's right.
gosh, it's hard enough without giving them an opportunity to see straight through it. Awesome. Second last question. Switching gears. So, what's next for you personally in your refereeing or involvement in the game? What does 26 looks like for you?
Well, I mean, I obviously I hope 26 results in a busy
Mm.
summer in Miami in June and July.
Yep.
Um, but until then, it's business as usual. This is kind of a regular season.
Hmm.
I got to do my job as it were, and
Yes.
and try to be ready. And then after that, I've gone to great pains to not make plans. So
Love it.
it's going to
Yeah.
be, take it as it comes after that and see how things go.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Well, we wish you all the very best in the lead up to that, mate. You'll have more than a couple of Aussies cheering you on down under in the lead up and then
No
at the
doubt.
tournament as well. Last question for you. What would be your message to the next generation of referees who dream of reaching some of the heights that you've achieved? What would you pass on to them?
So the big one that everybody's going to tell you is you can do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a path. It's real. There's nothing that special about the people that make it. I mean, God knows, but
Hello. Yeah.
yeah, but you can do it. The back half of that though is it's okay if it's not for you, right?
Mm,
If no matter where you get down this road, if you sit there and go, yeah, you know what, I think that's the point for me, right? I've got
mm,
other things I want to do in life. I want
sure.
to, go off and become a paramedic. Then
Mm.
you can
Yeah.
you can make those decisions and you can say, this is what's best for me now, and it doesn't take away from anything you've achieved to that point. It doesn't
Sure.
take away from any of the time you've put into it. All of that
Mm.
still has value. So just kind of embrace the journey and see where it takes you.
Yeah. Awesome, mate. And that paramedic scenario, that was hypothetical, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, asking for a friend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Awesome. Mate, well, that's the end of our 10 in 10. I can't thank you enough for your time with Next Level Refs today. Thank you very much for taking a break in your busy preseason over there at the moment. Like I said, we wish you all the very best in the lead up to a very important tournament in a few months' time. And we look forward to, well, certainly from our little part of the world, watching with pride and cheering you on, mate. So all the very best and thanks again.
I really appreciate the opportunity. This has been great. Next Level Refs is an incredible platform you've put together here, so I'm happy to be part of it.
Thanks, mate. We'll talk soon. Cheers.
Cheers.